Hey guys, welcome to Joe's Java Studio and my first ever YouTube video. A bit about myself. I'm a software engineer and I've been in the industry for about 3 years now. And I decided to start this channel to keep myself up to date on latest technologies and hopefully be helpful to you guys, especially regarding Java and Spring. So one tool I want to introduce you guys to is startthespring.io. If you ever want to start a Spring Boot project, you can come here, list all your dependencies like I did over here, and then this will create all the project files you need so that you can get started right away. I'll be using Maven for all my videos, and I'll be using Spring Boot 3 and Java 21. Try to use the latest versions of whatever software you're using just to get the best out of it. So today we'll be using GraalVM, Docker Compose, PostgreSQL driver, and Spring Data JDBC. So if you open up your project, you'll see something called compose.yaml. So here this is for starting your Postgres database, and one thing I'll do here is port forwarded to the same port. This is just so that I can access the database outside the container itself. So I can go ahead and start it. Docker Compose up. So now it's ready to accept connections and we're good to go. One thing we can do with JDBC that JPA doesn't really allow is that it allows for a lot more customizations than JPA, and you'll soon realize that JDBC is a lot easier to understand, and at compile time it's also more lightweight, so your application will start a lot faster than when you use JPA. JPA, because the package is so big, it does have a runtime robustness, but it does basically run on JDBC fundamentally at a low level. So what I have here is something called schema.sql under resources. So this is created to initialize Spring applications with this schema. So here, when I do spring.sql.init.mode always, that'll always get the schema from the files or SQL files that you have. And the top 3 lines is for connecting to the database that you have running. And where I got this information is from compose.yaml. So let me move it over. The username is my user, password is secret, and then the URL is going to be JDBC PostgreSQL localhost / the database name, which is my database. So we have all we need just to get started. So let's run it and see if we can connect to the database that we have running. So it says add a connection to PostgreSQL. So it looks like it's working. So let's see if we can do something with this database. So if you can see here, we're creating a customer table. So we'll be playing with that first. So to do that, we first need to write a repository. And I'll be using the list CRUD repository from JDBC. It will deal with entity of type customer, and the ID will be an integer. Yeah. So now let's define the customer type. I'll be using records. For this, if you want stateful objects or anything, You can use classes, but records should be able to get most of the things done for you. So it's gonna have an ID and a name. So what this annotation does is, I'll show you actually. So let's putting some data in database. Customer repository. It'll take a customer repository. What the application runner bean does is it will start automatically when you start the application. Whatever code you put in here, it'll start right away. Okay, so to test the database, we first need to put some data in there first. So what we'll do is we'll save some data. We'll create a new customer object. It'll be ID. So let me explain what this ID annotation does. So what this does is, when the ID is null or empty, it'll create an ID for you. Ideally, it will start at 1. So once you save it, we'll find all rows in the database and see if we can see this new customer that we created. And then we'll just print it. Yep. So let's test it. So here we can see this is printed, customer of name A and ID 10. Starting at 10 because I did some testing before this video. So now we know that we're able to create a customer. Let's actually try to see if we can see it in the database. So, oops. Let me connect to the database. Password will be secret. Select all from customer table, and we see that customer of name A, ID 10 is created. So what about one-to-one relationships or one-to-many relationships? As you can tell, this customer profile table has a foreign key to the customer with the ID. So let's see if we can do something with that. So we'll make another record of profile. It'll have an ID. Then it'll have a username, string password. And then we'll link the profile to the customer in customer record. So it's gonna be profile P. Now, since we added it to the record, we'll also have to adjust the customer object that we're adding to the database. So we'll do that right here. So we'll make a profile. P equals new profile. Again, ID is specific to this profile, and I want that to be generated. So it'll be null, username be user, password will be password. And then we'll pass that in to the constructor of customer. So, yeah, let's print it. Relation profile does not exist. So it's trying to add this profile to the customer profile table, but the default table name for an entity like profile and customer will be the entity name, but the table name is customer profile. So we will have to annotate this with table customer profile, just to tell the entity that whenever you're dealing with this entity, you're dealing with this table customer profile. So that should do it. So now we see a new customer with ID 12 and a new profile, right? This customer has this profile, and let's check that this profile was created in the customer profile database or table. We didn't explicitly add this profile to the customer profile table, but JDBC takes care of the relationship management. So let's see, select all from customer profile. We see that this profile with ID 7, customer 12 is created. So even though we didn't explicitly add that row, JDBC has done that for us. That's a one-to-one relationship, or about one-to-many. It's the same thing. Let's try adding orders, right? So record order, that'll have an idea as well. For this one, we need to annotate it as well to the customer orders table. And a customer will likely have multiple orders, so let's make a set of orders. Set order. It'll have a new order of ID null. Name is order 1. And then let's add another order. ID will be null, name will be order 2. And then let's link that with customer as well. So it's going to be set of orders. And let's add this set of orders to the customer row that we're adding. Yeah, that should do it. Yeah, so let's try running it again. So now a new customer with ID 13 is created. This customer has a profile and 2 orders, order 2 and order 1. We see that. And same thing here, the order should be added automatically from JDBC. Yep, order 2, order 1. They have ID 11 and 12. We can check it in the logs, ID 12 and 11. So yeah, it's there. Yeah, that's it. It has a lot of cool features. Takes care of all the relationship management, allows you to customize a lot of things. I only covered a few things today, and I'll be covering more in the next video. One thing I just wanted to point out is JDBC runs SQL in the background. So if you want to see the SQL statements it's running, you'll have to go to application properties. And then let's add logging.level.org.spring-framework.jdbc equals debug. I believe the default is info, but once we put it into debug, we should be able to see more logs. So I created a new customer, but let's see what it's doing. See here, you see all these select statements. These are SQL statements that it's running. It's inserting, and then for find all, it's find all statement in our code. It's doing select statements for SQL. So you can see that if you want to see what it's doing. It's probably doing a lot of joins, left outer join and things like that. So yeah, feel free to play around with that, and I'll be posting this code on my GitHub, which should be linked down below. And I'll be covering more about JDBC in the next video.